Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be quite a long video on the books that I plan to read during fall, during autumn, my favorite season of the year. I have way too many books on this list. It's kind of very ambitious and a little unrealistic, but I don't really care. So I have quite a bit of on this TBR. All of these books are pretty much outside of my comfort zone. I have a little bit of everything here, except I don't have much romance, which is weird for me. Let's get into it. I have 16 books on the TBR. A few of these books are the start to new series, and one of them is the end of a series, which means that I have to read a few of the other books to get to this book. And we'll start with that one because if you know me, you already know what book this is. I just got this from the bookstore today. A Grave Robbery by Deanna Raybourn. This is book 8 of the Veronica Speedwell series. I just finished book 5, so I need to read books 6 and 7 before I get to this book, which means I finished all of the books that are released, which I don't know if I'm a fan of. Like, I'm emotionally attached to this series. Actually, I need to read books, but I still have these 3 to read before this one. This one is book 6. I plan to read this month. It's currently August, so I plan to read this month, hopefully. The vlog is still in the works. Listen, I wish I was one of those girls who can read a series all the way through without stopping. This vlog would have probably taken like 2 months if I could do that, but I must read other things. And then I have An Impossible Imposter and A Sinister Revenge, which takes place in September. So I kind of want to finish the other 2 in a timely manner so that I'm reading this in September. And then I'm reading this one in October. You get it. Finishing this series is definitely the biggest priority for fall. Kind of heartbreaking, but I've been reading it since May? I've been reading it for a second. I'm going to be honest. But I love this series so much. Book 5 was a 5-star. Next is a pair of books that I want to read also very soon. The Overstory by Richard Powers and The Hidden Life of Trees by Peter Wohlleben. The Overstory I talked about in my last reading vlog. I kind of want to tandem read this book with this book, which is The Hidden Life of Trees by Peter Wohlleben. Just because I want to actually get like some scientific facts about trees as I'm reading this fiction book kind of surrounding trees, and I'm probably going to come up with a cute little annotating system for these 2 books, and I'll probably show you it just cause. So I'm going to do that, and I want to do that pretty soon, honestly. Then we have my current audiobook listen, The Undermining of Twyla and Frank by Megan Bannon. I read the first book of this series, The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy, last autumn, and it was the perfect fall read. Like, there was nothing I could have read at the time that would have had better vibes in that book. It was a great time, and it was especially good for the fall. And this one is like perfect for end of summer vibes, so I'm listening to it right now. Friends to Lovers, my favorite trope. Kind of a slow burn. They've known each other for literal decades, and the burn is burning. Their banter and humor and friendship, oh my god. Frank calls Twyla darling. That's all you need to know, girl. I must stop giggling about fictional men. It's not healthy. Then we have a pretty wholesome translated fiction, The Traveling Cat Chronicles by Hiro Arakawa. I'm not sure what language this is translated from, but it is translated fiction, and I've heard really good things about it. I heard that it's very wholesome, but I also heard that it has made people sob, so I'm kind of concerned about that. but I need a good cry this fall anyway. So it just sounds like the cutest book ever. And look at the little fall leaves on the cover. Like, does this not scream fall vibes? That's so cute. That is so cute. On to a few middle grades that I want to read this fall. I have 4 middle grade books on this list. The first one is the other book that I bought at the bookstore today. The Mysterious Benedict Society by Trenton Lee Stewart. I heard that this book is Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events mixed with Mr. Limoncello's Library by Chris Gravenstein. Y'all know Mr. Limoncello's Library shaped me as a child. Like, that was my favorite middle grade book for years until I touched Ronald Dahl, and then The Witches became my favorite book. But anyway, and The Big Friendly Giant. But anyway, Lemony Snicket mixed with Mr. Limoncello's Library. I'm hooked. I can't wait to read this. It sounds so intriguing. I've heard that there's mysteries and ciphers involved, and you as a reader can solve the mysteries. I'm not really sure what the plot and the premise is, and I don't really care. Like I said, you had me at Lemony Snicket and Mr. Limoncello's Library. So, another middle grade that I have on my TBR, I'm expecting to read around October time for The Best Spooky Vibes. Ophi's Ghost by Justina Ireland. I've had this on my TBR for about a year now. It's about time that I read it, but it is spooky because the main character can see ghosts. Another middle grade is Aggie Morton, Mystery Queen, The Body Under the Piano by Martha Jocelyn. I'm hoping that I really like this one because the second book in this series is like set in the wintertime. So it'd be the perfect winter TBR book. I'm excited for this one. Emmy here on BookTube has recommended it and has really liked it. So I'm hoping that I really like it. One that I'm really, really excited for, A Bear Called Paddington by Michael Bond. Now this is like the start to an 8-book series. Like, I'm hoping that I really, really like this one so that I could pick up the rest of the books in this series and like binge them, because Paddington is one of my favorite movies, one of my favorite fictional characters. We're like this. I love Paddington. Just a little sweetie. He's such a cutie. I love Paddington. So I'm hoping that I really like the series. This will be my first time reading the middle grades and reading the books, because I didn't know that it was based off of a book when I watched the movie. Or I would have read it a lot sooner. And it's a little mini middle grade series, so I'll have a lot of content to consume with this character. Then we have I have 2 YA books on my TBR as well. This one I kind of want to read end of November, beginning of the December vibes. How Do You Live by Yoshino Miyazaki with Studio Ghibli came out of retirement to make the anime for this novel, and I heard Emmy talk about it. She was interested in reading it. It sounded pretty good. I found it on the shelf at my local library, and it sounds so good. It sounds so wholesome, but it also sounds like it'll make me sob. So I'm interested to see what's going to be my vibe on this book. Then the other YA on my fall TBR, The Silence That Binds Us by Joanna Ho. This one I know is about a girl whose brother commits suicide, and her like way of healing from it is by writing, and some folks don't like that. She gets into a lot of trouble about it, and a lot goes on there. And like I said about quite a few of the books on this list, it sounds like it's gonna make me cry. The only short story collection I have on this list is Milk Blood Heat by Dantiel W. Moniz. This was a book that Noelle Gallagher talked about in her fall book recommendations a few years ago, which I love that video. I'll link it down below so that you can go watch it. Noelle, please come back. But it sounds amazing. Jerome May on Instagram also recommends this book. So 2 people that I trust very, very much when it comes to short story fiction, literary fiction, and things like that. So I'm excited to read it and see what's going to be my thoughts on it. I'm sure I'm going to like it a lot because it's about the joy and monstrosity of girlhood. So I'm sure I'm gonna like it. Cutting for Stone by Abraham Verghese. Now this does look like a summer book, doesn't it? But I don't really care. Historical fiction just screams fall vibes to me because it's something you have to crack open and sink into during the cooler months. And this book just seems like it's going to be so good. One of my mutuals on Bookstagram raves about this book. She's like, girl, it changed my life. You need to read it ASAP. So I'm going to try to read it this fall. I'm going to try to read it this fall. But this is another one that I've had on my shelf for quite some time. Like an embarrassing amount of time. Another translated fiction. Oh, that's actually... Milk Blood Heat is actually not my only short story collection on my list, because I also have Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. I read the 4th book of this series last year for some reason, just out the blue, and I really liked it. And this is the first book of the series which I found at a used bookstore, so I bought it and I'm planning to read it this fall because it definitely gives fall winter vibes. Also a translated fiction. Then, in terms of spookier reads, the only horror that I have on my list is Monstrillo by Gerardo Cordova. It's about this lady who, from what I know, and I could be very wrong, cuts a part of her dying son's kidney and like nurtures it and treats it like a human to where it ends up growing into a creature, like so. And she ends up raising it like her son. Very weird vibes going on. Very spooky, very weird. Kind of the personification of grief. It just sounds really, really good. And quite terrifying. So, definitely giving an October read. Last but not least, this is the book that I'm reading for book club with Emmy and Carolyn Marie Reads here on BookTube. This is the September and October pick for the Game of Tomes book club. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clark. She's a hunker. She is chunky. Almost 900 pages. Some practical magic vibes. Some witchcraft going on in the 1800s. Also, from what I gather, a tap of romance in there. It sounds very, very good. And it's extremely long. So I'm hoping that I really enjoy it so that I have a lot of content to consume. Yeah. That is the humongous stack of books that I plan to read over the next few months from September, late August to end of November. Okay. Is it realistic? Probably not. But it is what I'm planning to read. It's what I'm excited to read. If you guys want any specific videos on any of these books, like you want a reading vlog on Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, or you want a how I'm annotating video or anything like that, let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. Those are the books that I plan to read this fall. Let me know what you're planning to read this fall. My autumn book recommendation video will be coming at you hot very, very soon. Trust and believe. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.